Every year, thousands of women over 60 lose their health, not because of sudden illness, but because 5 simple medical tests were ignored. These aren't fancy, expensive checkups. They are the life-saving tests that quietly catch problems before they turn deadly. And yet most women skip at least one of them, believing I feel fine, so I must be healthy. But here's the danger. The most serious conditions after menopause, heart disease, osteoporosis, cancer, often grow silently for years without symptoms. By the time you notice, it can already be too late. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 medical tests every woman over 60 must take seriously. And I want you to stay with me until the end, because the last one is the test almost every woman skips. Yet it can mean the difference between living independently into your 80s or facing years of painful decline. I am Dr. Perriera, a gynecologist with more than 30 years of experience guiding women through menopause and beyond. I have seen women who appeared perfectly healthy suffer sudden strokes, fractures, or late-stage diagnoses that could have been avoided if they had taken just a handful of routine tests. These are not nice-to-have checkups. These are life-saving tools. Ignoring these tests doesn't just risk your health, it can cost you years of independence, strength, and precious time with your loved ones. The women who remain strong into their 70s and 80s are not simply lucky. They are proactive. They catch problems early when solutions are simple. Take Eleanor, age 68. She told me, Dr. Perriera, I never thought I needed bone scans. I was active. I felt strong. But one morning she tripped on her rug and fractured her hip. When we finally did the test, we discovered severe osteoporosis. Had she done the scan earlier, we could have strengthened her bones and prevented years of pain and limited mobility. Eleanor looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "If only I had known." Think of your health like the foundation of a house. You don't wait until cracks appear in the walls before you check for damage. You inspect, you maintain, you reinforce. Because by the time you see visible cracks, the problem has already spread. Your body works the same way. Tests are inspections. They catch the silent cracks before the collapse. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you scheduled a full checkup, not just a quick blood pressure reading, but a set of tests that look deeply at your heart, your bones, your blood, and your overall health? If it has been more than a year, type yes in the comments so you know you're not alone. Many women reading will realize they've put this off too. In today's conversation, I am going to reveal the 5 essential medical tests that every woman over 60 must take seriously. These are not random or optional. According to the Mayo Clinic, NIH, and Cleveland Clinic, they are the gold standards that can quietly save your life. I will explain why each test matters, how often you should take it, and what it means for your longevity. And I promise, some of them are simpler than you think. Stay with me, because the first test is one that most women skip, even though it's the single most important predictor of whether you will live independently into your 70s and 80s. Once you hear it, you'll understand why it must be at the top of your list. The first medical test every woman over 60 must not ignore is a bone density scan, also called a DEXA scan. Here's why it matters. After menopause, estrogen levels drop, and one of estrogen's key roles is protecting bone strength. Without it, bones gradually lose density and become fragile. According to the National Institutes of Health, nearly 1 in 2 women over 60 will experience a fracture caused by osteoporosis. What makes this so dangerous is that osteoporosis is often called the silent disease. You don't feel it. You don't see it. You may feel perfectly healthy until one day a simple fall causes a hip fracture that changes the course of your life. I once treated Margaret, age 70. She was active, enjoyed gardening, and never considered herself at risk. Then one morning she leaned over to pick up a watering can and heard a crack. She had fractured a vertebra in her back, not from an accident, but from weak bones. The pain limited her movement, and she began to withdraw from the activities she loved. When we checked her bone density, the results showed advanced osteoporosis. Margaret told me with tears in her eyes, I had no idea this could happen to me. I thought osteoporosis only happened to frail women in their 80s. This is why the bone density scan is so critical. It takes just 10 to 15 minutes, is non-invasive, and uses low levels of X-ray to measure how strong your bones really are. The results tell us whether your bones are normal, thinning osteopenia, or already fragile osteoporosis. With that knowledge, we can take action through nutrition, exercise, and sometimes medication to protect your independence and quality of life. Think of your bones like the beams in a house. From the outside, the walls may look solid, but if the beams are hollowing out inside, the whole structure is at risk. A bone density scan lets us look inside the beams before the collapse. So how often should you get this test? The Mayo Clinic recommends that women begin regular bone density scans at age 65 or earlier if they have risk factors like early menopause, low body weight, smoking, or a family history of fractures. After the first scan, your doctor will guide you on the frequency, often every 1 to 2 years, depending on your results. Here's what I want you to take away. Fractures are not just broken bones. In older adults, they can mean months of recovery, loss of independence, and even reduced lifespan. But a simple test done early can prevent all of that. Now let me pause and ask you, have you ever had a bone density scan? If yes, type yes in the comments. If not, type no. Seeing how many women answer might inspire someone else to finally schedule this test. The good news is that once you know your bone strength, you can act. Simple lifestyle changes, like adding calcium-rich foods, vitamin D, weight-bearing exercises, like walking or light resistance training, and eliminating smoking or excess alcohol, all strengthen your bones. Knowledge is power, and this test gives you that knowledge. But bone density is just the beginning. The second test is equally critical, and it looks at the #1 cause of death for women after 60. It's often overlooked because many women feel fine, yet the risks are growing silently inside the body. Stay with me, because this next test may surprise you. It could be the one that saves your heart and adds years to your life. The second medical test every woman over 60 must prioritize is a heart health screening. Heart disease remains the #1 cause of death for women over 60 in the United States. According to the American Heart Association, more women die from heart disease each year than from all cancers combined. And here's the most alarming part. Many women never feel the classic warning signs until the disease is advanced. Unlike men who often experience crushing chest pain, women's symptoms can be subtle shortness of breath, fatigue, nausea, or even discomfort in the back or jaw. That's why screenings are so essential. A heart health screening typically includes blood pressure measurement, cholesterol panel, and sometimes an electrocardiogram, EKG, or stress test, depending on your risk factors. These simple tests can reveal whether plaque is quietly building in your arteries, or whether your heart is working harder than it should. I think of Rosa, 66, who told me, Dr. Perriera, I feel a little tired, but I thought that was just age. When we checked her cholesterol, her LDL was high and her blood pressure was creeping upward. She had no pain, no dramatic symptoms. But those silent numbers revealed her heart was at risk. With early treatment, lifestyle changes, diet adjustments, and medication, she avoided a future heart attack. Rosa later said, I never thought a simple blood test could save my life. But it did. Think of your heart like the engine in your car. From the outside, the car may look perfect. The paint shines, the tires are strong. But if the engine is clogged with poor quality fuel or buildup, it will suddenly fail, leaving you stranded. Regular screenings are like lifting the hood and checking the engine before the breakdown. The Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic both recommend that women over 60 have their cholesterol, blood pressure, and glucose checked at least once a year. If you have diabetes, a family history of heart disease, or if you've smoked, these screenings may need to happen more often. Here's what I want you to remember: prevention is always easier than treatment. When caught early, high blood pressure can be controlled. High cholesterol can be lowered. Small blockages can be managed before they cause a heart attack. But if ignored, these silent risks can turn into life-threatening emergencies. Now let me pause and ask you, when was the last time you had your cholesterol or blood pressure checked? Was it within the past year? Or has it been longer? Type 1 year, if you've done it recently, or longer, if it's been more than that. Your response might encourage another woman to check her own records. The good news is that protecting your heart doesn't have to be complicated. Along with regular screenings, daily habits like walking, eating more fruits and vegetables, managing stress, and limiting processed foods go a long way. Your heart is resilient. It simply needs consistent care. But while your heart is your engine, there is another part of your health that often goes overlooked after 60, your blood. And this next test can reveal hidden conditions like anemia, diabetes, kidney issues, and even cancer long before symptoms appear. Stay with me, because medical test number 3 is one of the simplest yet most revealing screenings you can take, and it might surprise you with how much it can tell us about your health. The third medical test that every woman over 60 must schedule is a complete blood panel. This test is simple, just a blood draw at your doctor's office, but it gives a wealth of information. According to the Cleveland Clinic, blood panels can reveal anemia, thyroid problems, diabetes, kidney and liver function issues, and even early signs of cancer or infection. In other words, your blood tells the story of what's happening inside your body long before symptoms appear. I remember Linda, 72, who came to me saying, "I just feel tired all the time, but I thought that was part of aging." Her complete blood panel showed that her thyroid hormone was very low, and she also had early signs of anemia. Both were easily treatable, and within weeks of adjusting her diet and medication, her energy returned. She told me later, "I thought I was just getting old. I didn't realize my body was asking for help." Think of your blood like the dashboard of your car. When a light comes on, it tells you something is off before the engine fails. A blood panel is that dashboard check. It doesn't take long, but it can prevent major problems. The Mayo Clinic recommends yearly blood work for women over 60 or more frequently if you have chronic conditions. Now let's move to the fourth test, one that many women find uncomfortable to talk about, but it's absolutely life-saving: cancer screenings. Cancers of the breast, colon, cervix, and lungs are among the leading causes of death for women over 60, but when caught early, survival rates are dramatically higher. According to the National Cancer Institute, early detection can reduce mortality by up to 50% for certain cancers. Yet too many women skip these screenings because they feel fine or they assume their risk is low. Take Barbara, age 69. She skipped mammograms for years because she didn't want the hassle. When she finally came in, her scan revealed early-stage breast cancer. Thankfully, because it was caught, early treatment was simple and successful. She told me later, "I almost missed my chance. That mammogram saved my life." Cancer screenings may include a mammogram for breast cancer, a colonoscopy, or stool test for colon cancer, a pap smear if indicated for cervical cancer, and sometimes a low-dose CT scan if you have a history of smoking and are at risk for lung cancer. Think of screenings like smoke detectors in your home. You hope they never go off, but if they do, they give you precious time to act before the fire spreads. That is exactly what cancer screenings provide: time and options. So let me ask you, When was the last time you had a mammogram colon screening or pap smear? Type the name of the most recent test you've had in the comments. Sharing may remind another woman to schedule hers. The good news is that most of these screenings are covered by insurance or Medicare, and they don't have to be repeated every year. A colonoscopy, for example, may only be needed every 10 years if your results are normal. At this point, we've covered bone density, heart health blood panels, and cancer screenings. Each of these plays a role in keeping you strong, independent, and safe. But there is one final test I want to share, the one most often forgotten, yet it has a profound impact on both your longevity and quality of life. Stay with me, because medical test number 5 may surprise you. It's not just about catching disease, it's about protecting your brain, your independence, and your confidence in the years to come. The 5th and final test that too many women overlook after 60 is a cognitive and memory health screening. Most people assume memory loss is just a normal part of aging. But here's the truth. Not all changes in memory are harmless. According to the National Institutes of Health, early detection of cognitive decline allows for interventions that slow progression, improve quality of life, and protect independence. The sooner changes are identified, the more time you and your loved ones have to make decisions, adjust habits, and protect brain health. A cognitive screening is simple. Your doctor may ask a series of questions to assess memory, problem-solving, and orientation. Sometimes additional tests like brain imaging or lab work are recommended. These screenings don't take long, but they give an important baseline. They help distinguish between normal forgetfulness and early signs of conditions like dementia or Alzheimer's disease. I remember Maria, age 72, who told me, Dr. Perriera, I keep forgetting little things, like where I put my keys or the names of people I've known for years. My family teases me, but I'm worried. We did a cognitive screening and found mild impairment. With early support, better sleep, more physical activity, a brain-healthy diet, and regular mental exercises, Maria stabilized. A year later, she said, I feel like I've regained control. I know what's happening, and I'm not afraid anymore. Think of your brain like the operating system of your computer. You can have strong bones, a healthy heart, and clear blood work, but if the operating system slows, everything else becomes harder. A cognitive test helps ensure the system is running smoothly and alerts you if adjustments are needed. So let me ask you, have you or someone you love ever noticed subtle memory changes? If you feel comfortable, share in the comments. Talking about brain health openly reduces stigma and encourages others to take it seriously. Now let's recap the 5 life-saving medical tests every woman over 60 should prioritize. 1. Bone density scan DEXA to detect osteoporosis early and prevent fractures. 2. Heart health screening, including blood pressure, cholesterol, and EKG if needed to catch silent risks. 3. Complete blood panel, a snapshot of overall health revealing hidden issues. 4. Cancer screenings, mammogram, colonoscopy, pap smear, or lung scans to catch disease early. 5. Cognitive and memory health screening, to protect independence and long-term brain function. These are not optional extras. They are the foundation for healthy aging and longevity. Here's the hopeful message: it is never too late to begin. Even if you've skipped these tests for years, starting now can make a profound difference. Knowledge is power. Each test gives you the information you need to protect your body, your independence, and your years ahead. So tonight, I want you to take one step, look at your calendar, and schedule at least one of these screenings. Don't wait until symptoms appear, because by then it may be harder to treat. Prevention is always better than crisis. And now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 tests have you already done, and which one will you schedule next? Share it in the comments. Your answer might remind another woman to take action for her own health. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode in our Healthy Aging and Longevity series, and share it with a friend over 60 who deserves to protect her health. Together, we can build a community of women who live longer, stronger, and with confidence. And before we close, let me remind you, this video is for educational purposes only. It does not replace medical advice. Every woman's body is unique. If you are experiencing pain, significant changes, or have personal concerns, please consult with your healthcare provider. Your well-being deserves personalized care.